Hello, everyone. My name is Sid Moore, and this is the Echo series. We're going to go with Carl's Route next. And with me is Terry Candlestick. Terry, go for it.
Hello, everyone. I'm Terry Candlestick. You can find me on not.com, youtube.com. Just look Terry Candlestick, and you'll find me.
Very nice. I believe you can find both of us on Blue Sky. I'm on Twitch, obviously, if you're watching live. Um, I believe my Blue Sky is at Fen Moore. It'll use the same profile picture as this one, as my Twitch and YouTube. But all right, how about you, Terry?
Yes, you can also find me on Blue Sky at terrycandlestick.bsky.social. And
There you go.
You can find me there.
All right.
Happy to feel free to follow, and I will follow you back. And we can talk about Pokemon. That's another thing I'm doing on my own. And it's fun.
Hey, who knows? Maybe a lot of people come and want to talk about Sylveon. They're really popular these days.
Oh yeah, Sylveon.
All right, let's sit with Carl.
Let's go sit with Carl. All right.
I'm tired and I feel awful. I just don't want to have it. I just don't have it in me to chase everyone down right now. Flynn's back. Flynn's back off to Echo, and it looks like Leo went after TJ, but I can't imagine the Lynx wants all of us crowding around him right now. I sigh, rubbing my face before I sit down in the lawn chair next to Carl. He looks over at me, slowly lowering what's definitely a joint from his mouth. What? I don't mind. I make a go-on gesture with my paw. Carl shakes his head, though, pushing the disheveled tube back into his front pocket.
I always kind of feel like a dick when the other guy isn't into it.
Want me to leave? He shakes his head with a quick flick of his horns.
No, man. I just do it when there's nothing else to do.
I do something else. There's a moment of silence
that I all.
Now imagine you're at work. All right, there's a moment of silence, and I feel a little pressure to break the silence. To break it, since I'm the one who interrupted his bake session. I actually tried a few years ago. Carl looked surprised.
Oh, really? How was it?
I shrug. Pretty bad. It was a muffin, I think. Carl makes a face at that.
Edibles.
Yeah, well, I ended up eating one. Didn't feel anything for a while. Next thing I know, I'm face down on the floor and everyone's freaking out.
Shit, that sucks.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of funny, but I don't think I'll ever try it again. Carl pulls the joint back out of his pocket and holds it up.
That's why you should use one of these. It's easier on the brain.
Yeah, well, I guess I just don't like the idea of putting smoke in my lungs. Carl puts the joint back in his pocket.
I get that.
Again, there's a few seconds of silence, and I try to think of something to say, but Carl beats me to it.
Crazy shit, huh?
I assume he's talking about what just happened. Yeah, crazy.
But you know how he is. He's regretting everything right now.
Well, I guess I'd rather he just wouldn't say it in the first place. What he said to TJ, man. He picks on him a lot, but that was crossing the line. Carl scratches behind one of his horns, then rubs his nose.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I guess I never understood that either. Making fun of TJ is like making fun of a cloud. But Flynn doesn't mean it, usually. He likes TJ.
I've noticed during the trip that Carl's been pretty defensive of Flynn, even though he's the butt of most of the lizard's jokes. I've seen Flynn try I've seen Flynn trip Carl up and put him in several headlocks since I got here. You'd think getting older would change that, but I swear they roughhouse even more than they did before. So so you and him still seem pretty close. You guys hang out a lot?
Yeah, a bit. Mostly because there isn't much else to do. He's got a friend Peyton that he hangs out with sometimes too.
So what do you guys do? I know Flynn isn't into video games at all, and Carl probably doesn't care to go clubbing every other night. He shrugs.
Sometimes we go fishing. Maybe just drive around Peyton. Mostly I'm just hanging out at home though.
Playing video games?
Playing video games, watching movies, cybering with the chatbot. The usual.
I grin. That's sad. I would have cybered with you if I knew. I would have cybered with you if I had known you didn't have anyone.
I don't know, man. That thing compiles all the fetishes of the people it's talked to. It's gotten my sexuality all kinds of fucked up.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, seems like no matter what I say to her, she's tied up in some warehouse blindfolded with a few missing limbs.
You underestimate my abilities.
Oh, and a gender swap that comes out of nowhere halfway through.
Well, while you're not sexing up while you're not sexing up a robot, you do anything else? He chuckles.
I can't exactly get around myself anymore.
So I guess your parents decided against getting you a new car.
Yeah. Oh, look at this.
He leans over and pulls out his phone. I can't help but notice it's a top model brand, probably around $700. But he's not showing me the phone. Instead, he presses at the screen a few times and swipes through some pictures. I swear I see a image of Flynn in his pants down, with his pants down, mooning the camera. Carl swipes away pretty quick, though, and I'm looking at the image of a brand new sedan. Except the front is nearly folded up around the pole of a stop sign. I recognize the sign. I'd actually seen it right outside of the convenience store, still bent at a ridiculous angle. I guess the town didn't care enough to get it fixed. The pole itself is almost embedded into the middle of the hood. Holy shit. Carl chuckles and pinches the screen, zooming in.
Yeah. Dropped my phone, and when I came back up, this freaking pole was right in front of me.
Really, Carl? Why were you on your phone?
I don't know. When I get to the town, I don't really think anyone's gonna be on the road.
I sigh, then notice a big round spot on the right side of the windshield, spiderwebbed and smashed white. Whoa. What is that?
Yep.
Carl knocks his head for effect. The hollow sound that emits seems rather appropriate. You rely you rely on that too much, and you really need to start wearing your seatbelt. He shrugs and puts the phone back in his pocket before leaning back in the chair and closing his eyes.
What's the point?
To not die?
Happens to everyone sooner or later. Why not get it out early if you can?
He keeps his voice light under the heavy statement. I have no idea what to say to that, so I don't, but he breaks the silence again soon enough.
So, how's PU? You see Chelsea at all?
Sometimes I forget Carl went to Pueblo with me. It was only one semester, but we had a lot of fun. It's alright. I haven't seen Chelsea at all, though.
It's a big school. Anyway, what's that project thing you're doing?
Just a news packet about Echo, really. kind of about how it's falling apart.
Huh.
I've told him about this already, but Carl never remembers much. Might center it around the whole body and the mind thing that happened way back. Carl opens his eyes and looks at me.
Do you need, like, history stuff? Like old books and records and stuff?
Uh, yeah, if it relates. Carl sits up straighter and grins.
Well, why didn't you say so? I've got a ton of stuff in the crawl space from way back then, way back when.
Yeah, what kind of stuff? Carl sets a hoof against one of the rocks circling the fire pit and starts rocking his chair back.
Well, whatever my family kept over the years, that one guy,
Carl snaps his fingers a few times.
you know, the guy founded this place.
James?
Yeah, sure. He's like my great grandfather or something. I think we still have some of that stuff from back in the day. My parents were thinking about setting up an Echo museum thing, but they never did.
This might actually be useful to me. All I had planned was to maybe look over some old newspapers or town records and be done with it. Actually seeing some old stuff up close could be pretty cool. Yeah, it might be a good idea actually. Carl grins.
Awesome. I always kinda wanted to look through that stuff, but the crawl space is damn creepy. You free tonight?
For the first time, Carl actually looks really excited.
Oh, wait, never mind. Glenn's taking me to a dentist appointment early in the morning. How about around 11 tomorrow?
I smile. Sounds like a plan.
Sweet. Whoa!
Carl gives an excited kick off the rock, and as the chair's tipping back, the leg practically snaps under his weight. He's sent slamming down on his rear, the chair a crumpled mess under his ass. I laugh, and of course I feel bad, but Carl just gets up with a sheepish smile, looking down at the broken pile.
Well, Leo's gonna be pissed.
Turns out it was a good idea to hang out with Carl today. After texting back and forth with Leo, I learned that he's actually planning a birthday party for the Ram. It's a little weird since Carl's birthday isn't for another month, but I guess it's just an excuse to have a party. Leo tells me to keep Carl distracted for the day while they go shopping for decorations and gifts. He also tells me that he'll get my gift for Carl, which is fine with me. TJ's pretty bummed, though, considering it throws off his hiking plans, but Jenna promises him they'll at least hike half the trail. I want to talk to him, but he's acting pretty cold towards me, probably because I'm bailing on my promise to go with him. I drive to Carl's house because it's pretty far separated from the rest of Echo, up against the foothills of the Casa Demonio mountain range. It probably takes me 15 minutes to get up there, and there's no way in hell I'm doing that in this heat uphill when I've got a car. The main reason it's separated like this is because Carl's house is a mansion. Carl's family is loaded, a legacy that's followed them ever since Carl's great whatever struck it rich over 100 years ago. James Hendricks eventually went on to start an ice cream business, which, at this point, has spread out over most of the western half of the country. Carl's mom is the CEO, I think. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I should probably get some shots of the mansion considering its role in the town's history. Most of the old mansion has been demolished at this point, but I think parts of it are still from the original structure. Probably best to ask first, though. I walk up to the front door and ring the doorbell, listening to the fancy chime inside. I wait for a minute, starting to wonder if Carl is asleep or just high off his ass when I hear some voices from behind the house. I definitely recognize the cracky timbre of Carl's voice along with the high tenor of Flynn's. I head around the house, stepping carefully through the desert landscape and walking into the backyard.
'Cause you want to make out with him? No, because you like to make things weird. I just wanted to be relaxed.
That's when Carl notices me as I round the corner, clutching my camera bag to my side. He's leaning over a bush.
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 With a bush.
He's leaning over a bush with a giant set of clippers while Flynn lounges up against the wall, watching him.
Sunning himself. Whoa, Chase!
Carl's ears perk and he grins.
Sorry, Flynn.
Carl rolls his big head at the lizard.
Was supposed to be watching for you.
Flynn doesn't look at me right away, instead choosing to pull the toothpick he's chewed on out of his muzzle to look at it. He's still embarrassed about yesterday. Good. That's alright. Wasn't hard to hear you guys from the front.
Yeah, just doing some yard work, obviously.
He rubs behind his head.
Promised my parents I'd get this done before they got back.
Carl starts snipping at the bush again. He's unusually sharp right now. I'm guessing because he hasn't had anything to smoke. Either way, it's jarring to see him so animated. Well, looks like you're doing a good job.
Oh, he's only moving this fast because he wants to hang out with you, Chase.
Even though the sentence is technically being said to me, I feel like Flynn's directing it at Carl. Carl furrows his brow.
Chase, you can go inside if you want. The back is open.
I think that's a good idea because it's clear now that I've walked in on an argument.
You should have seen him a few minutes ago. It was like he had a girlfriend coming over.
Carl sighs loudly and his snips start to get a bit more violent.
No, I'm just glad to have some company that isn't only you, Flynn.
Flynn looks annoyed, and that annoys me. He really didn't have the right to be frustrated with anyone after yesterday.
Really? Always seems to be enough for you in the past.
Flynn makes a kissy face. I have no idea if this is one of their inside jokes or not. Carl stops snipping for a second, then starts up again, moving slowly. More slowly.
Well, lizards can be fun, but they don't have all the parts that I like, if you know what I mean.
Carl smirks sideways at Flynn. Flynn sneers back, and though I've decided that they're still joking, there's definitely a growing tension between them.
What you saying there, Carl?
Carl stops snipping the plants and points at the clippers Carl stops snipping and plants the point of the clippers into the ground, leaning on it as he turns to face Flynn.
What I'm saying is you've got no ball.
Before Carl can finish his sentence, Flynn turns to the right, away from him. This also brings his fat tail around to slam into Carl's crotch with a whap that makes me cringe. Carl jumps, then squeaks before toppling to the ground.
Oh man, my nuts! Yeah, definitely wish I had those. All dangly and vulnerable and shit. Anyway, I'll leave you two sluts alone.
Flynn sticks the toothpick back in his muzzle, and I have to consciously try to not cover my crotch while he walks by me. He hasn't looked at me this whole time. Once Flynn's gone, I sidle up to Carl, who's still curled up on the ground holding himself while he mutters under his breath. You alright?
Fuck no.
There's really not anything I can do, so I rub his shoulder with a toe comfortingly. And he freezes up.
I think you put the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable.
Yeah. Yeah, the wrong emphasis. So I rub his shoulder with a toe comfortingly, and he freezes up as I do so, looking at my foot.
Oh man, my only weakness. I'm alright, though. Oh.
That is one thing I'll never get. Is people like I don't understand foot fetishes, but you know what, viewer, if you have one, fantastic. I'm glad you have something that you enjoy.
You get up on it. You get it in. Oh yeah.
He gets himself into a sitting position before he gets up awkwardly, standing bow-legged. I forgot how much Flynn likes to hit people in the nuts.
I'll get him back. It still hurts him if you hit him hard enough.
As he stands there, doubled over with his paws on his knees, I look around. Carl's house has actual grass in the back, which is rare in Echo. Most people either xeriscape or just let the sagebrush take over. Another rarity are the two tall trees on either side of the yard. That's when I notice how empty one of them looks. Hey, where'd the treehouse go? Carl follows my gaze.
Oh yeah, my dad took it down a few years ago. It was falling apart.
His dad also built the treehouse. I can remember hanging out up there, playing on our portable game consoles with a fan on full blast. Even then, it was almost too hot to hang out up there. I walk up to the base of the tree and put my hand against the trunk, grinning. Man, remember all the shit we did up there? Carl shuffles up next to me, still bow-legged, and grins too.
Yeah, good times. Oh.
I think about climbing it, but I notice that the branch we used to use as a foothold has been cut off. Your dad ruined this thing. Carl scrapes at the spot where the branch used to be with a hoof.
Yeah, I guess it made the mowing harder, and we didn't use it anymore, so he just cut it off.
I can see Carl's looking for a way up, too, and soon enough his eyes settle on a branch just above his head. I don't know if Carl's already jumping to grab onto the branch with both paws. It doesn't look very sturdy. Dude, that's gonna break.
So? I'm fucking fat. I'll bounce.
I'm about to tell him again that the branch is definitely going to break when I notice his shirt riding up all the way over his round belly. It's not like he's a bag of lard, though. It's a controlled type of gut, held tight with the muscles underneath pulling in as he flexes. He notices me staring right away and kicks out at me playfully.
Pervert! First my moves and now this.
I jump back as he tries to follow me with a bigger swing of his leg, and that's when the branch snaps loudly. Carol goes down once again, landing squarely on his back.
Oh!
I cover my face instinctively, but I still hear the hollow thud followed by the whoosh of breath going out of his lungs. Slowly, I lower my paws and find the chubby ram rolling back and forth on the ground, eyes wide as his mouth hangs open. A distant memory comes to mind of a time when we were both 10 and Carl was showing me a trick with his new bike ramp. The handlebars ended up in his gut and he landed and when he landed the handlebars ended up in his gut when he landed, and he spent the following minutes rolling around on the ground just like this. Good times. Shit. I suck in air through my teeth and kneel next to him again, patting him uselessly. After a few seconds of hesitation, I reach over and grab the front of the waistband of his shorts and pull up on it. Even though he's completely deflated, he looks at me with a bizarre expression and swats at my paw, giving a few breathless snorts as he tries to laugh. Hey, it's supposed to help you breathe. I've seen coaches do it at school. I'm realizing that Carl's way too heavy to arch up like that. So I give up and end up just petting his stomach, wishing I could help somehow. Just stretch out. His breath is already coming back, but he follows my instructions anyway, and we sit there for a while, the silence punctuated by his heavy breathing. I start laughing. Jesus Christ, Carl. Jesus Christ, Carl. Can you go one day without hurting yourself? He chuckles too, his belly shaking under my paw.
Now you know why I don't go outside. Ugh.
He slumps back for a while, taking in deep breaths before lifting his head again. He looks down his chest at my paw and grins.
Seems like you can't keep your paws off me, though.
I moved my paw, letting him pull down his shirt as he grunts and sits up. How about I just let you suffocate next time?
I almost did, laughing while I couldn't breathe. I thought you were trying to grab my dick.
I put my paws on my hip. Is it because I'm gay?
That might just be it.
Carl grabs the branch that had broken off the tree and quirks up the corner of his mouth.
Oh, my dad's not gonna be happy about that.
Who cares? It's just a branch.
You know my dad.
He gets up and tosses the branch over the fence into the desert, and then turns back to me.
So now that it feels like Lucha fucking Lobo just gave me the quebradadore con giro, I think I'm done for the day. Wanna work on your project now?
I'd honestly rather just hang out here with Carl, but the sun's but the sun's enough to put a damper on that. Carl's house is like a labyrinth. I think he once told me that it has over 30 rooms, which is fucking insane. The living room is about 5 times larger than the one in my parents' house, and it's hard to miss what looks like a 100-inch flat screen TV against the wall. That was a 90-inch flat screen TV. How can I help you?
That's
Those of
huge.
you who know Helsing Abridged. According to Carl, the first mansion was even bigger than that. After getting a drink, he leads me straight downstairs into the basement. Down the hallway, we pass a small home theater, what looks like an entertainment room with a bar, and then a small gym. The quick glance I get shows at least 10 fitness contraptions. After that, things get a little more dingy, and I can see how portions of the foundation could be decades old. Finally, at the end of the hall, Carl opens up a door, and I can see from the ceiling that it's right under the stairs we came down on. Carl waves his paw around and finally grasps something before pulling. An old light bulb comes on, and I see there's a little door with a small latch on it. He opens it, and I'm greeted with the musty smell. I'm greeted with a musty smell as Carl slides through the opening. I follow tentatively, making sure I'm not walking into cobwebs. Are there a lot of spiders down here?
I don't think so. We sprayed a few weeks ago.
It's extremely dark, and I hear Carl grunting next to me.
Ugh. There's a flashlight. There's a floodlight here somewhere. Ah, here it is.
I was kind of expecting there just to be a massive spider like right next to the screen.
It's just
That would have been
like
perfect.
on the screen, just massive, and just has Chase just going, ah!
Even better, you know how there's those black bars on the sides? The spider is like, looks like its legs are coming and resting on those to
Mm.
really freak out the player.
Oh yeah.
Looks like it's coming out of the screen at you. Everything in this. Like everything in this house, it's big for a crawl space. Pillars sprout out. Pillars sprout from the ground in 2 rows that stretch back almost into the darkness. The ground is covered in a tarp, and I see dozens of plastic bins lining the walls. This is a lot of shit.
Yup. It's a few generations worth of shit.
I walk over the tarp to look into one of the bins, but all I can see is clumps of cloth and towel through the cloudy plastic. Carl walks past me straight towards the back of the crawl space, his big hooves clopping loudly.
I actually helped them sort through all this stuff last year, so I think I know where it is.
I follow him, but it's hard to see in the darkness. Should we get a flashlight?
Nah, it's only in 2 tubs, I think. We'll just pull them to the front.
I stand off to the side as I watch him push bins around, looking at the labels on top. I look over at one of them and see Home Movies written on it, and it's filled with cassettes.
Don't remind me.
I look up and see that Carl's noticed me staring at the bin. What? Carl grunts as he lifts up a bin and drops it pretty carelessly on to the floor. I'm pretty sure I hear something break.
Mom had me help her convert all that to digital. Took all fucking year.
Wow.
Yeah. It's in the cloud now. You're actually in a lot of these videos.
Huh? Really?
Yeah. Birthday parties and shit.
Of course I would be. Carl's dad practically had a video camera glued to his eye back in the day. I used to hang out at Carl's almost as much as I did Leo. I used to hang out with Carl almost as much as I did with Leo once we started going out. I even went on their family vacation a few times. But then me going out with Leo changed things. Looking back, I think Carl was kind of unhappy with that.
We can watch
Aw.
a few once we're done here if you want.
Sure. That sounds like an old person thing to do, but I'm curious.
Found it.
Carl slides out 2 plastic bins and I see history written on top.
Help me carry one.
Carl lifts up the top one and starts waddling back to the front. I bend over and lift the second one, and I'm surprised how fucking heavy it is. I'm worried I'm not even going to get it off the ground for a few seconds, but I manage after a while. If Carl's bin is as heavy as mine, then he's a fucking beast he's a fucking beast at being able to carry that around, carry it like that. I stagger after him, almost certain that I'm going to go head first into the wall. Once we make it back near the stairs, I bend over and set my bin down, and that's when I see a massive spider sitting on the lid. It takes about half a second for me to recognize the black shape and spindly legs. Oh fuck! I scream and I drop the bin before I know it, I'm halfway back from where we came, panting and shivering.
Holy shit, what happened?
I tremble and try to steady my voice. A fucking spider!
What? You're really still scared of those? Man, for a second I thought my sister came home and then got murdered. Screaming like a bitch. Bitch.
You told
Sorry.
You told me there weren't any.
I didn't say that. I just said we sprayed.
Just get rid of it. At this point, Carl walks over to the spider, picks it up by the thorax, and eats it.
Tastes like chicken mixed with weed. It's an
At
edible.
this point, yeah, it's an edible spider. That's how he makes all of his edibles. He just captures a bunch of spiders and just puts them in one of those portable vessels and.
Mm-hmm. Yummy.
At this point, I've shuffled a bit closer back to the lid, and I can see Carl grinning as he bends over to look at the lid of the bin.
Whoa, it's got babies on its back.
My body gives a violent, involuntary spasm, and I shake my paws like a fucking girl. No, stop it!
You peeked out.
He's like, no, stop it! He glances up at me, with that stupid smile still on his face.
Wow, that was gay. But seriously, it's got a bunch of tiny babies on its back. I think it's a wolf spider. You should
Those
come
aren't that
look at it
many.
real close.
Yeah, you should get. You know that thing
Just
where it
touch
has
it.
that image where it has 2 people and they're literally seeing eye to eye? Yeah, you should do that.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry, I got something for this.
Uh-oh.
I've got something.
Uh-oh. Are you going to share it on your
Yeah.
stream?
That one, everyone. That's how close you should get to it. Okay.
Hey,
Now that
share,
I've remembered.
share that, if you can, share it on our Discord so I
Discord?
can get it and put it up here for everyone.
There you go.
Oh, God.
That's how close you should get to it. Eyes wide open. I swear, I'm gonna pass the hell out if he doesn't stop talking. I cover my face. Man, this is like the most girly thing you can do. You know, it's like,
Please.
no, make it go away.
Sounds like our cat David. No, please.
No. I cover my face. Please. Oh my God, he actually does it. Please. No. Make it go away.
All right. I didn't know you were that scared of him. Fuck. You should probably get that checked out.
Considering that I almost crashed my car into the garage of my parents' house when a spider crawled out of the AC, he's probably right. Just kill it.
Why would I do that?
It watch as he tilts the bin sideways. I also noticed the puddle of water. I also noticed the puddle of steaming water at my ankles.
It's not gonna hurt anyone.
I want to tell him that those babies are going to grow into 100 more giant wolf spiders. But I realize I'd just come off as a bloodthirsty asshole, so I bite my lip as I watch the black spots skitter off into the darkness. I walk back towards Carl, hugging my shoulders as I try to control the chills running through me. Now I'm going to be paranoid the whole time that it's going to come back out to get me. Carl rubs my back when I stand next to him.
You know, they actually clean up a lot of other bugs that get into the house.
Yeah, well, I'd rather be covered in ants than spiders. It's clear he's trying not to laugh at me as he starts popping the lid off the bin. On the top are a few framed pictures, and under those are a few more cardboard boxes. I release the latches on the other bin, and keeping my eye out for any black spots that might jump out at me. This one's filled with bundles wrapped in cloth or paper. Carl drags his bin to the other steps. Yeah, Carl drags his bin to the steps so that he can sit on them, and I follow suit.
So, how do you think you'll use this stuff?
I unwrap a smaller bundle and look at the gold pocket watch underneath. Wow. Well, not totally sure. Depends on what we find. Might film a few things? There's a paper tag attached to the chain with Robert Hendricks written on it. Who's this? Whose is this? Carl gives it a glance.
No idea. Probably a great uncle or something.
I wrap the pocket watch and reach back into the bin to pull out the next item. There's something really cool about old stuff. My mind wanders to who might have made it, who bought it, and how much shit it must have seen. History was my first. History was my foist choice in Moija. History was my first choice to major in, but Dad put a stop to that pretty quick. I pull out various other things, dolls, pipe, coins, another pocket watch. I feel like this is worth a lot of money. Why don't they sell it?
Probably, but it's family stuff. And I still think they want to do the museum.
He gives an awkward cough.
Besides, we already got plenty of money.
He's got the binder open, looking at black and white photos beneath the plastic.
Hey, this is him, right?
He points at a picture of a very dignified-looking ram, thumbs in his vest, wearing one of those big top hats, A fox stands next to him in a similar pose. I can see a piece of yellowed paper set behind the photo and tug it out. James Hendricks. Yep, definitely him. And John Begay. Huh. That's Jenna's last name. Carl's phone starts buzzing, and he grunts as he leans back to pull it out of his pocket.
Hey, Mom. Helping Chase with this project. No, Of course not.
I look over at him, but he gets up and clops back to the steps. Looking back down at the picture, I wonder if it's just coincidence, but I don't think so. Jenna's family has been in Echo since the beginning, too. So this guy definitely has to be a relative of some kind. I take a picture of the photograph with my phone. I'll show it to Jenna later and ask if she knows anything about it.
To do that without a car!
Carl raises his voice, so I look back up the steps, wondering if I should close the door. Hearing him angry like that just didn't feel right. His parents were always hard on him, but I guess they had their reasons. I spend the next 20 minutes shuffling through the bins, trying to be careful not to break anything. I decide I have enough and put the lids back on the bins, lining the stuff I picked out alongside them. I decide I have enough to put the lids back on the bins, lining the stuff I picked out along one of the steps since I don't have anywhere else to put them. By the time I head back up into the actual basement, Carl's gone. As I approach Carl's room, I smell it before I even open the door. He's reclined on his bed, an arm thrown over his face, the big window above him open. Clothes are scattered all over the room, all over the floor, along with a few empty water bottles and bowls. Every inch of the walls are covered in posters, like I remember, along with a few on the ceiling. Bookcases line the opposite wall, filled to the brim with comics and toys. He raises up his arm as I walk in and smiles.
Sorry about the mess, dude. It's hard to keep everything clean when my parents aren't here to yell at me about it.
A lazy, crackly sound in his voice has returned, full force. His eyes are distant. It's okay. Are you okay? He grins toothily.
Dude, I'm more than okay.
Since there's nowhere else to sit, I end up sitting down on the foot of his bed. Do they let you smoke in here? The smell in his room is layered and old, like the walls have been blanketed in the smell several times before.
Yep. They gave up trying to stop me. Better to be in the house rather than getting caught by some cops outside. They just made me promise that I wouldn't ever try something harder. Good thing they don't know I've already tried dick.
He puts a lot of emphasis on K, as the bad joke seems to just dribble out of his mouth, out of his muzzle.
Dick.
I lean back on the bed, and that's when I notice his flat screen. Just a 48-inch is on, and a list of video files displayed on it. What you watching?
Oh.
Carl grunts as he sits up and reaches for a game controller.
Our old home movies. Was gonna show you some of them. How about a birthday?
Sure. He scrolls down the list, then stops when Carl's 8th is highlighted and presses play. The backyard was an hour The backyard I was in an hour earlier pops up on the screen. Now, a long table sits in the middle of the lawn, along with a massive bounce house. And not just any bounce house, but a giant 2-story one that you'd find at a state fair. The video is timestamped April 19th, 2002. Fuck, I remember this. There were about 20 kids, mostly in the bounce house, and most of whom I've forgotten. Right now, though, the camera is zooming in on an 8-year-old Carl. He's messing with a giant Nerf gun, the kind that no kid ever gets because it's so damn expensive. And that's when an 8-year-old me enters the picture, holding a much smaller Nerf gun. His parents gave everyone a goodie bag that day. It had toys in it that I might not have been able to get on my own birthday. My kid self pulls the gun to Carl's head and pulls the trigger, the dart bouncing off one of his horns. I specifically remember that moment. I had thought the suction end of the dart was going to stick, but of course it didn't. The audio is filled with a deep chuckle, Carl's dad behind the camera.
You were a dick back then.
What? I was 8!
Still, you blew up my candles.
Oh, yeah. He got so mad about that. I started to settle back and smile. It's been a long time since I've watched a home movie, and I'd forgotten how nice it is to have this method of looking back. Kinda like when I got stuck on scrolling through all the old images on my phone. My younger self is trying to help Carl with the gun, lifting up the barrel and looking into the opening. Careful. Kid Chase pulls his head back with a jolt as Carl's dad yells, then mutters something behind the camera. Let's see how long it takes him to trick Carl into trading with him. Carl's dad sounds exasperated but good-natured. It still makes me blush a bit, how knowing how aware Jim was of my taking advantage of his son. Our struggles with the Nerf gun get the attention of another kid, though. My breath catches in my throat as Sydney bounces into frame. I can feel Carl tensing up next to me, too, and he starts to lean for the game controller. And then comes the Mormon boy. And then comes the Mormon boy. The disgust in Carl's dad's voice shocks me, and I hear Carl whisper a curse next to me as he fumbles for the controller. Then he reaches out and pulls the gun away from Carl as he looks it over, grinning. Hey. Suddenly the screen twitches to a file menu, and we both sit there in silence for a few seconds.
Sorry, I guess I forgot that.
Of course, Sydney was going to be at that party, but I'd honestly forgotten, too. If there was any way to perfectly ruin the mood, that had been it. I glance over at Carl and I see him looking down at the gamepad, ears lowered, the insides red. Hey, it's okay. I mean, maybe it's a good thing to watch.
My dad. I didn't know he'd say that. I'd rather not find out what else he said.
Oh, yeah. I look around trying to find something, anything to distract us from what just happened. My eyes fall on shelves holding Carl's game library. Want to play a game? It's just like old times as we co-op through Winter Castle. The fact that he still has the old save file from when he was in college makes it all the more nostalgic. I get into I get I get so into it that it gets dark outside without me even knowing. I'm pretty sure pretty sh- and pretty soon I'm looking out at the purple sky reluctantly. That time I got back, Carl sighs and pauses the game before stretching and dropping the controller onto his bed.
Oh, come on. Or you can't stick around?
I don't know. I don't have any clothes or toothbrush.
We can walk over and get them.
Carl seems pretty determined to make me stay, and there's not one reason why I can't, so I relent. Yeah, alright. Yeah, this could be fun.
Yes.
Gosh. Carl looks happy, almost relieved.
It'll be just like old times.
He rolls to his hooves.
And speaking of old times, let's make pizza!
I've suddenly caught Carl's enthusiasm. We go into the massive kitchen and pull a big frozen pizza from the fridge, and while it bakes, we sit on the counter and talk. At this point, the haze of pot has lifted from Carl's face. He's animated and excited again, swiveling on one of the counter stools. For the first time in almost 10 years, I'm giddy and excited in a way that you only get when you're at a sleepover. That makes it a little jarring when he pulls out some beers, but I'm happy we have a few. But I'm happy to have a few, and we guzzle them down as we talk about past sleepovers. Pretty soon, our reminiscing drips into the present, and that's when the conversation slows a bit, Carl having less to say. I try to change the subject and tell him that he should come back to school. He just smiles and shakes his head.
No, man. No, 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 man.
3 hours later, we're both laying back on Carl's bed, head to toe, having just watched a shitty action movie. We didn't end up going out to get my stuff, so I'm just in my boxers, pleasantly drowsy and buzzed. I hear Carl snuffle, and lay down and lay down my chest at him. Oh, look down. I hear Carl snuffle and look down my chest at him.
Clean
What's
those.
up?
Clean those glasses, friend mirror.
I it's probably the energy drink, who knows? He looks over at me and shrugs.
None. Just thinking.
About what? During our past sleepovers, Carl's always been afraid to be the last to fall asleep. He'd try to keep me up by talking, rolling over on top of me, and sometimes just throwing shit at me. I wonder if that's what he's doing now.
I don't know. Life?
That's a lot to think about.
Not for me.
I look over at him again. He's holding one paw up, looking through his fingers at the ceiling fan. You're just figuring things out. Carl lets his arm flop back down over his head, blowing out a sigh.
I'm not figuring things out, man.
I don't say anything. It's cool that he's reaching out to me, but I'm not sure if I can offer any advice that he hasn't heard before.
Just I just wish I could be doing something.
I think for a moment. You've done a lot more than some people I know. I mean, your art is great. You did go to school even if you dropped out, and you were working while you could. There are a lot of people out there who can't even say that. Carl laughs, but it's a sad kind of laugh.
Nah. Try saying that to my mom. She's always got something to do. Always wants to do something. I just don't feel that.
He turns his head towards me.
I wish I did, Chase. I just can't.
His voice catches in his throat, and I shrink a bit into the bed and pretend not to notice. The beer we've had is definitely partly to blame for this. He turns his head towards the wall, though, and I'm guiltily relieved that when he talks again, his voice is under control.
I just wish it wasn't such a goddamn chore for me to go outside, you know?
I didn't know, but I nod anyway, even if he can't see. He's waiting for me to say something, though, so I clear my throat.
Which one are you gonna choose? You have a problem, or it's fine?
I mean, if it's a chore for him to even just go outside and do anything, then that's a problem.
That's a pretty
But
fucking problem.
if he's just doesn't care, I mean, he obviously does care. Let's go with you have a problem. Don't take this the wrong way, but maybe you should see a therapist. He snorts and finally turns his head back at me, his horns bumping the wall loudly.
Huh. I already do. I thought they'd just give me a pill to make things better, but apparently I have to actually make an effort too. And I'm like, isn't that why I'm seeing you? For the whole making an effort thing?
I laugh along with him. I grin, glad at making Carl feel better. Cool. Let's plan on it. Carl puts his paw behind his head and smiles.
It's cool that you're here, Chase.
Yeah, it's cool to be here, Carl.
And not just because it's nice to have someone to talk to.
Oh?
No. This house is fucking haunted. Also, sorry, Chase. Chase goes, what? Sorry. What are you talking? And then it hits him. Oh, Carl. Oh, the smell.
Nothing personal, kid.
Hot fuzz, baby. It's Janice. She's in the room.
Oh no, it's jaundice.
Sorry, had something stanky. All right, go ahead.
She's not even wearing pants.
Takes up half the room.
That's what those creaking floors were.
That's what the haunt is.
You can smell it coming a mile away. I don't remember falling asleep, but it's at that moment that something wakes me up. I jolt, then lay there, trying to remember where I am. Carl's house, that's right. I stare at the ceiling, wondering what time it is. I don't bother to look at my phone, though, because I'm already starting to fall back asleep. A scraping noise from beneath me makes me jump, and I prop myself up on my elbows, listening. Looking over, I see Carl staring at the ceiling, eyes wide. Carl? I whispered. I'm not sure why. He jumps, then looks at me, confused, like he'd just woken up.
Huh?
Are you okay?
Yeah. What's wrong?
I think I hear something. His floppy ears perk up.
I don't.
Then his eyes widen. Although I didn't hear anything right then, he definitely did. You hear it?
Yeah. Like a scraping noise I told you about?
Yeah. He looks happy.
Oh, so I'm not fucking crazy.
We both sit there and listen for a while, but it sounds like it stopped.
Wanna go see what?
Suddenly his eyes widen and his muzzle drops open in shock. I stare back. What?
Did you fucking hear that?
I listen, feeling my heartbeat pick up now that Carl looks fucking terrified, but I don't hear anything. What?
It's a voice. It sounds like Jaundice.
Ah! The fur raises up all over my body as I listen. But nothing. Carl definitely seems convinced, though. So I listen harder. I just start to make out what might be a voice when Carl sits up next to me and gets out of bed. I feel myself start to panic. Did some crazy hobo break into the house? Carl gets off the couch.
Come on.
What? What the fuck are we gonna do? Let's call the cops.
No. Let's make sure first. This has happened before.
What? What do you mean? He puts a finger up to his lips.
Grab something. Jaundice breaks in. A plate full of food and says, here's your normal. Here's your here's your regular order.
What?
Yeah.
I faro. Someone's gonna take that out of context, and they're gonna be like, "Oh, I follow.
I fondle. I fondle.
I follow Carl. I follow Carl out into the kitchen, and he starts rummaging through the drawers. I follow him, hugging my shoulders, feeling a lot colder right now. With the sound of metal sliding against metal, Carl pulls out a giant steak knife. What the fuck?
Dude, I've been hearing this shit for the past month, and I've been too scared to go down there. But now, you here.
He flashes me a smile.
I'm gonna find out what the fuck this is.
Here.
Here. It's dangerous to go alone. Take this.
He reaches into a spot between the fridge and the wall and pulls out a broom before sticking it out to me. I take it slowly. What the hell am I supposed to do with this?
Hit him. Come on. You know, it's like I get the big Gatling gun, you get the noisy cricket.
Carl starts down the stairs and I follow behind him, holding the broomstick in front of me like a sword. I've never had to hit anyone with a stick before. I have no idea what I'm doing. Once we get to the small door leading down into the crawl space, Carl pauses and we both listen. It's silent for a while. Then, shit. Carl looks at me like I'm crazy, not reacting to the noise at all.
Shush.
I lean down, a paw on the handle. Looking back at me, he signals me with his eyes to be ready. I grip onto the broom like a lifeline as I wait for him to swing the door open, and when he does, darkness.
Shit.
So whatever is down here is just slinking around in complete darkness.
Hey!
Carl says it unconvincingly, the fear in his voice. Then, after looking at me,
Fuck it.
he jumps down into the crawl space. He jumps down into the crawl space, disappearing into the dark. Carl! I stumble up to the edge of the steps, trying to squint into the black. I hear Carl to the right, rustling around and cursing. That's when light floods the crawl space. I quickly wobble down the steps, knowing that if whatever is down here is going to try to escape, it would be running right into me. Finally, I have a moment to catch my breath, standing several feet behind Carl as I look around, broom at the ready.
Huh? There's nothing here. What the fuck?
Sure enough, the crawl space looks empty. There aren't many places to hide either. What the hell's going on, Carl? But he doesn't answer me. He's staring at the bins. Did you put the bins back? Wait, that's you.
Did you put the bins back?
I look down at the bins. I look down, and the bins are gone. Maybe it was a ghost.
Ghost! Oh no! Where's Scooby?
We need some Scooby snacks. We need some Carl snacks.
Carl snacks. We need some Leos.
Yeah. We need some Leo's.
Yes, he's the ghost boy.
Leoreos. Leos. I look back at where they were originally, and sure enough, they're neatly stacked right where we found them. I honestly don't remember. Did I move them back? Maybe it would be something I might do. I try, but I just can't remember. Maybe?
Dude, come on.
I really don't remember. Carl walks further towards the back, ears perked, looking left and right as he clutches his knife. I start to follow, but that's when I notice something at the left of my vision on the ground. Looking down, I see something fat and hairy ambling slowly over the tarp. A giant fucking tarantula. The following few moments are a blur, but the next thing I know, I'm going up the stairs on my feet and paws, grabbing at the door frame to pull myself up.
Chase! What the fuck happened?
I can hear him running up behind me, so I turn to warn him. Look out! A big spider. The breath keeps catching in my throat. I think I'm hyperventilating. I'm still clutching at the door frame as follow Carl's me.
Follow Carl's me. Dyslexia, everyone.
Yes, this is literally dyslexia. I'm still clutching at the door frame as Carl follows up behind me, his eyes wide.
What? Come on, Chase, this is crazy.
No, huge! A blonde!
No fucking way!
Now he looks excited and he turns back to the crawl space. I feel numb right now. This is all too much to handle. What the fuck is even going on?
Which way?
Shakily, I point towards where the spider was crawling. Carl squints, then walks down the steps, looking around. Careful.
If it was really a blonde, there's not much to worry about. I hear they're actually pretty gentle, and they taste real good.
He just eats them all. I'm just waiting to hear, ow! It's just like a blonde tarantula hanging from his neck. He's like, oh!
It's just like the Minecraft sounds of eating, but there's like blonde legs just flying through the air all around it.
I gulp and I don't say anything. My head is pounding and buzzing, which, for some reason, doesn't exactly feel like it has anything to do with the adrenaline rush. It's more like a bad headache. Carl looks around a while longer while I focus on the steps. Yep. Making sure nothing starts crawling up them. I don't even care about the possible hobo anymore. Finally, Carl comes back, looking confused.
Well, there's nothing there. You know, sometimes I see shit when I'm really tired. Want to go back upstairs?
There's nothing there. This can't be happening again.
Oh, fuck you.
All right, cool.
I think this is where we're gonna leave it, right? Wednesday.
Wednesday.
My goodness, it's Wednesday. Oh,
I know we need to cover our eyes and be like, oh please.
Oh, please. I'm such a scaredy cat to spiders.
Then we need to hug ourselves. Oh no, I'm
No,
scared.
no. Chase is such a wuss.
This is like the first time Chase has done that to my knowledge so far.
Please.
Chase is such a girl. He's like, no.
No.
But all right.
Yes.
That is where we're going to cut it for tonight, everyone. I will see you all later.
Yes, we will see you next time. And until then, bye.
See you guys next time on Most Extreme Elimination Challenge, Echo Edition.
Yeah, that's probably good. All right. Bye, everyone.
All right, well, that was fun.
Bye.